Today we're going to talk about our psychological infradimensions. That means the defects that make us live a living hell. So we're going to study different defects according to Dante's 9 circles of the Divine Comedy. So he begins with number 1, that is laziness. At the beginning we might think like, but wait a minute, how does laziness make my life miserable? I mean, if it brings me pleasure, isn't it just great to sleep a little bit more, to do something later, work slower? We don't see like really nothing wrong to it. But the thing is that many defects hide behind laziness. For example, if you have a teenager at home and you ask him to clean up his room, he's going to answer with anger. And we might say, well, yeah, that's the defect. But no. Behind that defect is laziness. Anger is covering his real laziness because he knows that if today he cleans up his room, tomorrow when he comes from school, we're going to tell him to sweep and mop. So then he's going to have more work to do, okay? Another one, envy, for example. We envy people that are successful. Why? Because we're lazy to have discipline to achieve our goals. So you see how this defect works quietly in our psychology? That's why we need to be constantly observing ourselves and looking to see what's behind all of the decisions that we make. The second circle, he talks about lust. Now, what's the problem with lust? We're energy, and the intention that we do things, we waste the energy of our hubs, of our chakras. That's why they don't spin the way they should, because we spent their energy. So in lust, almost all the things that we do have that intention. So we just keep wasting the energy of our sexual hub. For example, the way we put on makeup, the way we dress, the way we look at people, the way we speak, the way we walk. All of that is taking our sexual energy. How can we stop it? Okay, so I don't put on makeup anymore and I don't dress sexy? No. That's what we have to study. For example, when we put on makeup and we start putting on makeup on our eyes and we just see that sexy look. That's where I consciously know that I am wasting my sexual energy. So I concentrate on my conscious and I ask my conscious to kill my lust. We must be able to dress nice, okay? It doesn't matter. It's fashion. Whatever you wear it nice. But the thing is, the difference that's inside us, okay? You could get to a reception and the same girl can look very pretty, or same guy with a great body, great eyes. But as soon as we start speaking to him, we know if there is lust because they sent us that intention. So we can start speaking to someone and we can say, wow, you know, admiring him in our mind. God, he's cute, but this guy is like so serious and he has a lot of knowledge and we just want to keep talking to him. But if this guy starts looking at us with lust, smiling, then there's another intention and we immediately feel it and we answer back the same way. So we both start losing our sexual energy. That's what they call fornication. Any kind of energy that we use unwisely, it's called fornication. So for example, in our intellectual center, reading a lot, using the computer a lot, writing a lot, all of that is going to make us fornicate in that center. Okay, our motor energy, if we exercise way too much, like for example, in the morning, you go 2 hours to the gym, great. But in the afternoon, you go swimming. And after that, you have soccer. And before going to bed, you're going to do yoga. That's a lot of exercise for our physical body. So we must learn how each of our hubs work in order to save that energy and use it wisely. Dante's third circle talks about pleasure and desire, which is connected to the topic that we were just speaking about. So pleasure, everything causes us pleasure. Pleasure to watch TV, pleasure to read, pleasure to go shopping, to be online, to play, to eat. But what's wrong with that pleasure is that we are feeding our desires. We are feeding our ego, our wrong way of being. For example, if you smoke, you remember that the first time you started choking, maybe you smoked that one cigarette completely, or maybe you didn't get to finish it. But what happened later on? Then you smoked 2 cigarettes, then 3 cigarettes, then half of a box. Then in a week, you were smoking a whole box. But then in one day, you end up smoking 1 box. There are others who smoke 2 or 3 boxes in a day. So what happened? We keep on feeding our desires because it gives us pleasure, but we don't notice when does it get out of our hands, okay? For example, picking up cigarettes from the street to smoke, not being able to sleep, a vice that makes you get up at 3 or 5 in the morning, if not you can't sleep, a vice that makes you get depressed, get upset. It's something that it's a must-have. And why? Do we fully lose control of our physical body? That is what is not right. To keep feeding any desire, any pleasure, any lack that we have. So we must sit and study our own psychology to see what's behind that. Okay? What's behind smoking? Anxiety? Fear? Not able to communicate? Maybe we're too perfectionist. So we need to be doing something to calm our anxiety because we need to always be moving and doing. Perfection, it's another pleasure because it gives me the pleasure to be number one. So it's feeding my pride. And is it fair for me to really take work home and continue working at home? If you began a project in the company and you finished it there, why do I have to take it home and keep looking at my exposition and changing the pictures and changing the colors and maybe adding another graph? We must understand the value of life. If we were able to have, like in the movie, that here people could see how much time they had left. If we were able to see how much time we had left, we wouldn't take our work home. We wouldn't spend our time in things that aren't worth it. Okay, so we must always keep in mind that time is gold, that any time our time is going to finish, but we think that the neighbor's going to die, our family members are going to die, but we forget about ourselves. So we could see how a person, when they tell them that they have 6 more months of life, we see how that person changes. The person values that time and they begin to travel, they begin to give love to people, they become nicer, they start working in themselves. Why? Because now they know how much time they have left. But since we don't know how much time we have left, then we forget about the value of time. This takes us to the next circle, avarice and spenders. How much avarice is inside us and sometimes we don't notice. For example, the food we buy. What's the price of the food we buy? Do we buy the cheapest thing in the supermarket, the cheapest bread? Because there is avarice and usually we don't take good care of our body. For example, with the meats. Though it's more expensive and it takes us more time to go to a farm and buy it directly from a farmer, it's a whole lot more nutritious for ourselves. But there is avarice. Now with spenders, maybe the person is cheap feeding themselves or dressing up. The point of this is to learn to do things consciously. Maybe it's the opposite. The person buys expensive clothes but feeds with cheap food. Okay, and there you go. But sometimes we are completely cheap with ourselves. Cheap clothes, cheap food, everything is cheap. But when we're going to give to others, we tell them when we're at the store, buy whatever you want. Okay? Oh no, but if we go shopping with them, we tell them, but no, you should buy this one. Look, the product is better. No, it's more expensive. It's going to last longer. So take this one better. Or when we're going to give a gift, we give them like something really expensive that we don't give it to ourselves. So we should sit down and study those kinds of situations. When we find that we are cheap with ourselves, why am I so cheap with myself? Maybe I consider that I don't deserve it. Maybe I consider that others deserve more than me. Don't I work hard enough? I mean, it is great if you work a lot and you want the best for your children. And yes, as parents, we always want our children to have the best, and we want them to travel, and we want them to have the best toys. We want them to have what we didn't have. But we also need to be conscious that we are all human beings, and the same way they deserve the best, so do I. So if once a year you just take from your salary and you say, no, this is to prize myself. I'm going to buy this really good phone because I deserve it, because I have worked so hard and I also deserve. The fifth circle talks about anger. How many times is the person going to need to lose his friends, to lose his partner, or his family to be getting upset with him, for people to stop talking to you, losing your job, losing everything around you because you just can't see or you just can't handle your anger? Okay, so we need to see these kinds of things. I mean, we always point to everyone, but when I'm pointing, this one is pointing that way, but these other three are pointing to me. And everybody outside, it's a perfect mirror of who I am. Okay, so how narcissist are we? How much do we enjoy making others suffer? Why aren't I able to love everyone the same way? Why am I not able to see the light in others? Okay, because I am not able to see myself. If I work in my anger and I start and I sit down and I pay attention and I say, yes, I have destroyed my family, for example. I went through a divorce because of my anger, because I hurt them, because though I used to say sorry, it wasn't enough because there was a lot of pain. So every time I hurt them, that scar kept opening and it never closed. Okay, it's like you always kept putting lemon and salt. So I have to sit down and see what's the problem, because there is a lot of pride, because I think I know what's the best for them. Because if I'm a lawyer, I want them to be a lawyer, because I don't respect their free will, because I'm scared of losing them, because I'm scared of being alone. So I have to sit down and start analyzing all of those kinds of things to fully comprehend them and make a real change. And consciously forgive ourselves. Because these kinds of study bring a lot of pain, because to see us how we really are, it really hurts. To see what we have done, it really hurts, but it's necessary. Okay, so we need to first forgive ourselves in order for us to then forgive others. Now, what's going to happen when I have fully comprehended anger? That when I'm in the supermarket and I bump up to someone who used to be how I was, I'm not going to fight with that person anymore. You know why? Because I'm going to see that mirror and actually it's going to make me laugh, and I'm going to say, oh my God, I used to be that way. I used to leave my couple, or I used to leave my family all of a sudden alone at the supermarket. Fine, then I ain't shopping, and just left them. So when I see that in another person, I'm not going to get upset. But if I haven't worked in my anger, I'm going to see that, and that's going to make me upset and say, man, how mean people are, and look at that guy, and we get upset, because that's what happens with anger. It's like a ball that everyone who sees it, it bounces back to us, and then we bounce it to another. It bounces to everyone. So when I work with my anger, you see how much bad times I am saving to so many people. Next circle, which is tyranny, because anger is part of tyranny. Okay, our tyranny, for example, it's going to be Christmas or summer is coming up, and there is tyranny with our body, because we say, no, I have to look fit, I have to wear that dress, I have to wear that bathing suit, I need to look perfect. So we stop eating, only lettuce and tomato, and that's it. That is a lot of tyranny with ourselves, because we don't take care of our body. So that's how we solve things with tyranny. When we are afraid, we use tyranny in order to not lose. Tyranny with animals, for example. Look at our big tyranny. Just because they cannot speak, how many people hit their dog really bad, treat the pets bad, or they're going to travel and sometimes they don't leave them enough food. But you say, well, he's not going to die anyways if he doesn't eat for one day, or because I won't walk him. So there is a lot of tyranny in all of our actions, and we need to start working on it. We need to start doing actions based in love. So the first thing before doing something, I have to ask myself, if this action that I'm going to do, this decision, is it based in love? Is it based in love for others, respecting their free will? There I'm going to see my tyranny. And my ego is going to answer me back because it does, and it tells you, so what? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Tyranny and anger are just hate, and hate is the opposite of love. So if we want to make a real change in ourselves, we have to start by loving ourselves in order to love others. In order to help others and guide them, we need light. We need to have our own light. And in order to have our own light, we need to work on ourselves, to consciously make a sacrifice and change. The seventh circle talks to us about the Holy Spirit. That means everything that's life. This is a worldwide problem. And inside of one of Dante's 9 circles, all of the circles are inside it too. So for example, talking about this one of life, we see how a natural resource as normal as seeds. Every human being, just because he's part of this world, he has the right to have access to real seeds. I mean, where do we live? When did all of a sudden a man's power took away our real seeds? Why can any farmer have access to seeds? Why can't I make a garden at home and not find real seeds anywhere? This is a total abuse. This is to go against nature completely. We're hurting the planet because these kinds of seeds, what it does is destroys the soils. These kinds of seeds destroy our bodies. These kinds of seeds have destroyed the own fruit itself. It tastes different. Yeah, it looks a lot bigger, but you have to put color to it because it's not real. The taste is not real, the size is not real, the vitamins are not real. It's just plain not real. And even worse, it has become a whole business because the governments do have the remedy to cancer. They do have the solution to so many diseases. What is the real truth behind all of this? Medicine is a whole business. They want to keep us sick. How many diseases have they created and they just throw it at us? And that's it. Then they sell us vaccines. Even if they say, oh, they're free. No, they're not free. They come from our taxes. So we have to pay for something that it's not even good for our body. And even worse, it's not even going to cure us. It's just going to make us feel better. So the downer we go in each circle, it's even worse, okay? This circle takes us to the next circle, and it's the same thing we're talking about, and are liars, okay? Lies. How do we do the same with others? We lie for sex. We lie to keep someone with us. Do things that we don't like. For example, if you don't like soccer, but your partner loves soccer, all of a sudden, just to go out with him, you start learning about soccer. You wear a soccer shirt. You're buying tickets to go to the soccer match. You're listening to the latest news about soccer. And it's just all a big lie. And what happens? The person goes out with you, but that person thinks that you're interested. And then you end up living together. And after you're living together, that's it. You wouldn't want to keep up with that lie. So when he wants to go to see a match, Oh yeah, well, you go with your friends. Of course, you don't want to go there every Sunday. And when we lie, we are betraying ourselves and we're betraying the others too. That takes us to the ninth circle, that are traitors. Any defect is a traitor. Why is it a traitor? Because it is taking over this human machine. I am not doing my will. I am not doing what I came here for just because I have to feed a defect, because that defect took over my body. We are traitors when we agree in abortion, for example, because that soul has a mission to be here. Excuse is that that child is going to come sick. But everybody has karma. He had to pay for his karma, so he wasn't going to come healthy. He had to come and suffer. And that family where he was going to arrive needed to develop more love. Maybe that family needed to unite, and that child was going to move their heart and make them see the importance of family, of working together. But our ignorance makes us big traitors. Our defects that have a whole bunch of excuses. You're too young, you haven't finished university, a couple left you alone, I don't have enough money, I'm in the best time of my career. All of those are excuses. But the truth is that we are big traitors. And there in that action, I have betrayed my soul, and I have betrayed that child's soul. And the biggest gift that we could give to another soul are, 1, the opportunity to also come to this third dimension to do what he has to do. And 2, give them freedom. So there are many things that we need to sit down to study, to fully comprehend, because we make a lot of mistakes. And what we always say is, I believe I should, I think I should, but I know I should. That is only of our conscience. That I know, it's an answer that we get when we can fully connect to our soul. Any defect that you find that you have, just take it through each of the 9 circles and fit in love. So, no, I mustn't. No, this is wrong. You're not part of me. This is not the real me. And I ask my conscience to destroy that every day, every bad feeling, every bad thought, every bad action, every bad comment. If I pay attention to it and find from there isn't part of love, then always ask your conscience, no, destroy it, destroy it. If I take my time every day to sit down and just study any defect, study any situation that happened that day or that happened in the past, and just sit down and write, why isn't it right? What defects appear there? What did I really want? Why do I feel frustrated because of that? Why do I hate myself for that? The outcome is a real change. Real change takes time, and a real change hurts, and a real change is a sacrifice. But it's a must. We must change. But it's a must. We must change for our own good. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Remember that if I change, I'm going to be able to help you change. And if you change, you're going to be able to help others change. And then everything is going to change.